Homeostasis Part tutors Scientia ipsa
endocrine system. That's the concluding aspect of homeostasis. Okay, this will be a flow chart. The general introduction into endocrine or ductless glands, the endocrine glands and what they secrete, location of endocrine glands, the functions, and the abnormalities of endocrine hormones. That is the pathophysiology. Okay, here we'll look at this. Endocrine glands are basically ductless gland devoid of tubes. This is one thing I want us to take note of. And they secrete what? Hormones. This is very essential. And they secrete their content directly, please take note of this one, directly into the bloodstream through diffusion. Now, these glands are found mainly in mammals and some vertebrates. Okay, we said the secrete hormones. Okay, let's define what hormone is. Okay, hormones are chemical substances secreted by endocrine gland, point one, which exert its effects on a target organ or structure. Please bear in mind that the effect could be excitatory or inhibitory. That is, it could actually augment the function of that structure or reduce it, as the case may be. And the structure or the organ can be muscle, can be another gland. It depends on what it's meant to do. Here is a diagram trying to illustrate the difference between exocrine gland and endocrine gland. This is exocrine, sorry. This is meant to be EXOCRINE. This E is a mistake. Now, this is exocrine gland. Example is salivary gland. These have ducts. This gland secretes its content through a duct. This is the duct here. However, on this other side, the endocrine gland, this is the glands, its secretion is secreted directly into the bloodstream, and that goes into circulation. All right. Okay. Now, locations of endocrine glands: we have the brain, the heart, the neck, the pancreas, the adrenal gland, the kidney, the testes, the ovary, and some tissues. Please, I want you to take note of the hormones secreted from here are called local hormones, basically. Okay, this talks about just a little illustration of different endocrine structures in the body, different glands. Okay, this is the thyroid gland here. This is the same thyroid gland, but the posterior aspect bearing the 4 dots. And those 4 dots represent the parathyroid gland. This is the thymus. This is the heart. This is the stomach. This is the pancreas. This is the skin. This is the testes. This is the placenta and the fetus, of which in a moment you understand each of them and what is secret. This is the reproductive part of a female, and this is the ovary enlarged out, which secretes hormone. This is the kidney that secretes some hormones, and this is the adrenal gland on top of it, which secretes its own hormone as well. This is the the liver that secretes some hormones also. And this is the cross section of the brain, showing the pituitary gland and the hypothalamus. This is also the hypothalamus up here. Okay, this next slide is just specifically on the adrenal, on the pituitary gland. This is the anterior part, this is the posterior part. The posterior part secretes 2 hormones, ADH and oxytocin, and the anterior part secretes 6 hormones. Altogether, we have 8 hormones in the pituitary gland. Please bear in mind at this juncture that this podcast is basically, this very one is just an overview of the entirety of endocrine system. In subsequent classes, you will get to have a more detailed explanation on each of these. Okay, right, this is another diagram showing the different parts where endocrine glands could be found. All right, okay, and glands and their secretion. The anterior pituitary gland secretes growth hormone, thyroid hormone, stimulating hormone, follicle stimulating hormones, luteinizing hormone, prolactin, and adrenocorticotropic hormone. While the posterior part secretes oxytocin and antidiuretic hormone. Please bear in mind that some slides, if you go back, you notice that I showed it that's not quite long. And okay, we have the thyroid gland, which secretes two hormones, the thyroxine and calcitonin. In a moment, you have a brief explanation on their function. We also have parathyroid gland, which secretes parathormone. Please, parathyroid gland is found behind the thyroid gland, and we have the heart that secretes brain natriuretic peptide, and the other ones it secretes. All right, this is the continuation of the same function. I mean the glands and their secretion. Here we have the kidney, which secretes renin, erythropoietin, and calcitriol. Pancreas secretes insulin, glucagon, and somatostatin. And adrenal gland cortex, because the adrenal gland has two layers, just like the kidney, the cortex and the medulla. The cortex here secretes mineralocorticoids. Example is aldosterone, and glucocorticoids. Example is cortisol. Then adrenal gland medulla secretes progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, adrenaline, and non-adrenaline. Sorry, I want you to bear this in mind. You might come across some literatures that says epinephrine and non-epinephrine. This is also correct. It means the same thing as adrenaline and noradrenaline. It's just British English to say adrenaline, and it is American to say epinephrine. And also, adrenal gland is present in both male and female, which simply means that every human, both male and female, have testosterone, progesterone, estrogen, and all these other ones. I mean, this one, for the fact that everyone has this, you have this in you, you definitely have progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone, whether you are a male or a female. Just that if it becomes abnormally high, that's when you have the problem. But every human is meant to have these two. But you have more testosterone if you are a male because you have a testis, and you have more progesterone and estrogen if you are a female. All right. Now, placenta also secretes some hormones that helps the growing child and helps the woman, I mean the mother, to carry the child to term. All right, this is a table just summarizing the different functions, the chemical class, the action, I mean where it's being regulated, and the gland itself. So let's start from the posterior pituitary gland, which secretes two hormones. Oxytocin, it's a peptide and it stimulates contraction of uterus and milk lets down. Milk let down refers to the action of oxytocin squeezing, causing the mammary gland to squeeze rhythmically to release breast milk after parturition, basically, and it's controlled by a neuroendocrine reflex or neuroendocrine connection. In subsequent class, you understand what that means. And we have antidiuretic hormone, which is also a peptide. It promotes retention of water by the kidney. Like I always tell my students, the more the ADH, the lesser the water excreted from the body through urine, and the lesser the ADH, the higher the water excreted through urine. Please bear that in mind. And also, this ADH and oxytocin are actually formed in the in the pituitary, I beg your pardon, in the hypothalamus, but they are being stored in the posterior pituitary gland. Please bear that in mind. You can see that it is written here that it is releases hormones made by what? The hypothalamus. You can see that there. All right. Also, the anterior pituitary gland secretes 6 hormones. Growth hormone, which is a protein hormone which stimulates growth. Like I always say, the more the growth hormone you have in your system, the more rapid you grow, and most of the time the taller you grow, basically. So that's why giants tend to have higher abnormal height, while dwarf tend to have abnormally low height because of the fact that their growth hormone is affected, and this is regulated by the hypothalamus. Okay, we also have prolactin, which is a protein hormone which stimulates milk production and secretion. Please bear this in mind. Prolactin and oxytocin are two different hormones. Prolactin will form the milk inside the mammary gland, while oxytocin will cause it to come out. Please let's bear that in mind, because for the fact that prolactin is being said that it secretes here could be confusing. No, it just forms it in it. Without oxytocin, the milk that is formed by prolactin will not come out of the breast. Please let's bear that in mind. And now we have the follicle stimulating hormone, which is a glycoprotein, which stimulates production of ova or eggs in female and also formation of sperm in a male. And we have luteinizing hormone, which stimulates ovaries and testes to perform their function. When we talk about menstrual cycle, you get to understand that the more we talk about these two hormones better there. And we have thyroid stimulating hormone, which stimulates thyroid gland. Now, all the hormones, example FSH, TSH, ACTH, that causes other glands to secrete their hormones are called tropic hormone, TROPIC. So all the classes of hormones that work on other glands to secrete their hormones, and those ones are basically found at the anterior pituitary gland. These hormones are called tropic hormone. Please bear that in mind. So the thyroid gland, causes the thyroid gland to secrete thyroxine, and we'll see that in a moment. And it's being controlled by thyroxine in the blood. Yes. All right. Okay. We have adrenocorticotropic hormone, which stimulate the adrenal cortex. That's the outer layer of the adrenal gland, to stimulate its hormones, basically the glucocorticoids. All right. Okay. Now, the thyroid gland itself, now we talked about the fact that TSH work on the thyroid gland. Okay, what does the thyroid gland has to offer? Okay, it secretes thyroxine and calcitonin. Now, the thyroxine is the major one, which is called the T4. The T3 there is just a derivative of T4. The active one is actually the T4, which stimulates and maintain metabolic process. These hormones are very important, of which I will take our time to talk about them explicitly in the subsequent class. And what regulates that is TSH. We talked about that not quite long. Also, we have the parathyroid and calcitonin, which is a peptide. It lowers blood calcium level, and it's controlled by the calcium in the blood. So it means that there's this mechanism called negative feedback and positive feedback. Most of the hormones in the body are regulated by negative feedback. Only few are controlled by positive feedback. So most of this calcium, glucose and all, it is by negative feedback they use in regulating the hormones. Hope that's clear. All right, we have a parathyroid gland which secretes parathormone, or they call it parathyroid hormone, but it's called parathormone, and this works antagonistically with to calcitonin, because calcitonin reduces blood sugar and blood calcium level, while parathyroid hormone raises it. I believe you can see that here. And we have the pancreas, which secretes insulin, and insulin, to everybody, we know that insulin is very essential to lower the glucose level, of which when that is absent, that's when we have diabetes mellitus. And we have glucagon, which raises the insulin level in the blood. All right. And we have adrenal glands, which secrete adrenaline and noradrenaline. We all know that the function of adrenaline is for fight and flight. Also have the adrenal cortex, which secretes glucocorticoids, which is a steroid. The steroid here is very important. Example is cortisol, which helps raise blood glucose level and is also essential for athletes to overcome stress. And we have the mineralocorticoids, which promotes the absorption of sodium and potassium ion in the kidney. It helps increase the absorption of sodium and increases the elimination of potassium from the body. All right, we have the gonads, which is the testis in the male, which secrete androgen. Example of that is testosterone. This basically works to sponsor or control secondary female characteristics, male characteristics. Please bear in mind that all these hormones take their effect. The hormones from like testosterone and estrogen and progesterone, they take their effect fully when one is at puberty. So we all have them when we're much younger, but the effect is felt the more, evidently when we are at puberty. All right. So, and estrogen and progesterone, these two work alongside to promote female secondary characteristics at puberty. Exactly. And we have pineal gland, which secretes melatonin, which is involved in the biological rhythm. That is called circadian rhythm. That's ability to understand how our body the ability of our body to get adjusted to day and night, when we sleep and when we wake, because some of you testify to this. If you travel to a place whereby they have a longer night and shorter day or something, there's this way your body finds itself to have to adjust to that with time. So, and that hormone that sponsors that is melatonin from pineal gland. Also have thymus, which secretes thymosin, and this helps to the stimulation of T lymphocytes. All right, and we have here it's written not known. We have a lot of factors that regulate that, depending on some other factors that sum up to regulate secretion of thymosin. All right, here is just a little summary. Okay, we have abnormalities of endocrine system. Some here are due to too much of those hormones, which is hyperactivity, and we have some that are below, which is hyperactivity. You can see that here. And okay, you can pause the video here just to get some things written down. Is that clear? All right. This next slide talks about someone suffering from goiter. Goiter is an abnormal condition that affects the thyroid gland due to abnormal secretion of thyroxine from the adrenal gland. This is called exophthalmic goiter. This happens in the case whereby the gland secretes too much of thyroxine, becomes enlarged, and this causes person's eyes to protrude this way, which could actually lead to blindness if it progresses this way. All right, this next slide talks about, this is a giant here. This is a normal person. This person is about 7 to 8 feet tall because he has abnormal secretion of growth hormone before puberty. In this case, it is abnormally high. And this other slide, we have, this is a dwarf. This is a giant. A dwarf has too little of growth hormone before puberty, while a giant has too much of growth hormone before puberty. All right. We have acromegaly. In this case here, there's too much of growth hormone after puberty. The person doesn't get tall here, but gets wider. So because the bones have ossified, hence the bones increase in mass, and the hands of the person becomes like a spade. The person has a prognated jaw. You can see it here. All right. Then we have this is cretinism, which is due to absence or too little of thyroxine in a child. That's what leads to cretinism. Let me just pause here to get this thing written down. However, we have other abnormalities like thyroid. From thyroid, we have Graves' disease, thyroid adenoma, and myxedema. I will talk about this extensively. These are the diseases that affect different glands based on the fact that they are being secreted abnormally high or too low. All right, I believe you've been able to get something from the podcast so far, so good. Please do feel free to call me or send a mail to me through my the first slide has my information on it. You can always reach me, and always remember, success is achievable if only you be consistent. Thank you for listening. All right, bye bye.